Hello, dear students. Welcome you all to Sri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. I am your friend and mentor for upcoming classes with respect to botany. Now we have already started with the chapter of class 11, that is living world in botany, and this is lecture number 2. And in this lecture number 2 we will be dealing with the diversity in living organism, their classification, how to carry out a classification, how to preserve things, how to conserve the things, what are the different ways of classification, that all we are going to study in today's lecture. In previous lecture we have already studied about the characteristic features of living organism and how you can define living organism, that we have discussed with respect to the defining properties. Okay, so let's start. So dear students, biodiversity, if you think, then it is a term which refers to the number and types of organism present on earth. Now you know that we are living on earth. There are several different type of animals, plants, microbes, and in that also there are several different species are present, and that different several species, their number and their types will all be part of this biodiversity. Now when scientists studied, they tried to describe this organism, and while describing the number of species that was described, that range between 1.7 to 1.8 million. So this is the fact based question that you will get in your particular exam point of view. You can get this type of question. And what question can be framed from this? The question is, how many number of species have been described till date? And in option you will not find a 1.7 to 1.8 million. You will find 17 to 18 lakh. So that will be your correct answer. And you know that there is too much diversity still remaining to be explored. So this biodiversity part is there. So if we go on studying each and every organism one by one, it will not be possible that we can study all organisms in our lifetime, because detailed study is too much lengthy, and for studying one species several years are required. So what thought was arised, that we need to classify, we need to group this organism into different groups, and when we group or when we make a different groups of this organism, it will be easy that we can study the characteristic of that group and the belonging organism, and that makes us for us the easy to understand each and every organism. So similarly classification was done, and initially one book was there whose name was Systema Naturae, which was written by Carolus Linnaeus, who enlisted several names of the different species in this book, and they have described. So you can see here that Carolus Linnaeus is one of the important scientists. It will be used in further so many things. Now see, if we need to classify, there are certain rules and regulation. Okay, and in this, for describing the rules and regulation, there are two branches. One is a taxonomy and one is systematics. You can look here in the white mark, you can see here white box, taxonomy is given and systematics is given. Now dear students, taxonomy is actually a arrangement, because it arised from the two term. Taxonomy arrived from the two Greek word, that is a taxis and nomos. Taxis means arrangement and nomos means laws. So what are the laws for the arrangement that was studied under the taxonomy? So you can see in this white box the definition of the taxonomy, that is the branch of science that deals with the study of principles and procedure of classification. Whatever the principle and procedure are required for the studying a classification, that all will be considered under a taxonomy. Actually, this taxonomy word was proposed by one scientist whose name is A.P. de Candolle, A.P. de and Candolle, in his book, that is Theories Elementaire de la Botanique. It is a Greek word, and that means in English that is a theory of elementary botany. So dear students, by hearing this term taxonomy, you can understand it is mainly dealing with the rules and regulations and principles which is required for the process of classification. Now below that you can find that there is a written certain terms like characteristics, characterization, identification, nomenclature and classification. See, suppose we have gone for a tour, education tour in any forest, and we find a one new organism. Suppose this organism has a 4 legs, okay, then a large mouth, tail is there, and by seeing that morphology, just we are remembering that it is somewhat lion or tiger like, but it is not actually a tiger or lion. So if I want to classify that organism, what I will do? First I will note down their characters. I will note down the character of that particular new organism. So there is the first event which occurred during the taxonomy, that is a characterization. You can see in this blue box there is a written a characterization, that is first. After characterization, after writing down a characterization, what I will think? That to whom these characters are matching. So if I think that these characters are matching somewhat to the lion or tiger, means I am trying to identify that organism, that to which group and to whom it is a relative of. So that is the second thing, that is identification, which occur after characterization. And dear students, when I think and I realize that it is particularly somewhat related to this organism or identified to this organism, then we will give the name to that particular new organism, and that is the third event that occur, that is the nomenclature. After nomenclature, I will put this organism in the particularly different convenient groups, and that is a classification. So dear students, you should understand these 4 things. That is the main part of this taxonomy process. Okay, first is characterization, that is a noting of characters. Second is identification. If you need to write a definition, you can write that a process by which an organism is recognized from the other already known organism and is assigned to a particular taxonomic group is called identification. Then nomenclature, that is a naming of organism according to the international scientific rules, and it is called a nomenclature. And the last one, that is a classification, and it is a process by which any organism is grouped into convenient categories on the basis of some easily observable characters. So that is taxonomy. Now apart from taxonomy, another new thing is there, that is here, that is systematics. And dear students, systematics deals with the systematic arrangement of organism. To whom it deals? It deals with the systematic arrangement of organism. Now this term systematics, that is also given by Linnaeus. Actually it is given by Linnaeus, and taxonomy by the A.P. de Candolle, as we have studied. This systematics term was given by Linnaeus, and word systematics, as you can see in the green circle, that it is derived from the Latin word, that is a systema, and that systema itself means a systematic arrangement of organism. And Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as its title of publication that we have studied. Now, in systematics, what included? They have included, or Linnaeus included, the taxonomy along with phylogeny. Means whatever the rules for the taxonomy applied, that can be applied here, but here we are going to understand, or we are going to give importance to the phylogeny. And what is phylogeny? Phylogeny is the evolutionary history or evolutionary relationship of organism. So dear students, systematics include identification, nomenclature, characterization, what we have studied, characterization, identification, nomenclature, and classification, and evolutionary relation between organism. Okay, so that is the thing with respect to systematics. Now further on we are going to study the types of this taxonomy and systematics. So let's study the types of systematics and taxonomy. So dear students, as you can see here, there are two branches of taxonomy is given on the upper side. One is classical taxonomy and one is modern taxonomy. Dear students, classical taxonomy, here as you can see, it is based on observable morphological character. Means if we are going to classify any organism by studying just morphological character, and the same rules will be applied like characterization, identification, nomenclature, and classification, and the organism is classified based on morphological character, then it is known as classical taxonomy. But the students, modern taxonomy is something different, and it deals with the external with the several characters. So here you can see the characters like external and internal structure along with the structure of cell. You can see here modern taxonomy does not deal with only morphology. Here they are trying to dealing with the morphology along with the internal structures, and in internal structures they will include the structure of cell. You can see the study the structure of cell, either it is a prokaryotic or eukaryotic. Another development process, how they have developed. And third, as you can see here written in modern taxonomy, that is ecological information of organism. So in classical taxonomy, what they have taken only morphological character. In modern taxonomy, what they have used morphology along with anatomy, but cell structure, development process, and ecological information. In this way, this separates from the classical taxonomy. And dear students, the question from modern taxonomy is most important question. They usually ask certain type of question, like they will ask which of the following are the basis for the modern taxonomy, or for which it deals with. Then you should know these 3 points, and you will find an option, that is a fourth option, that is all of this, that will be the correct answer. Apart from another is systematics, as we have just studied. It was first used by Carolus Linnaeus, and according to Carolus Linnaeus, you can study here, you can read here, systematics is the discipline of botany which deals with the kind and diversity of organism and the existing relationship among them. So just we have studied the systematic include phylogeny, means here relationship is going to be established. Okay, after this the types of taxonomy, and next we are going to talk about systematics. First we are going to deal with this thing, that is the main uses of systematics. Okay, we have studied that it include identification, characterization, nomenclature, classification, and phylogeny. So what are the main uses of this? First, it provides knowledge for the great diversity of animal and plant. Yes, students, is the most important, because systematic, they have arranged the systematically different organisms. So it is easy for us to understand or get a knowledge of this particular diversity of animals and plants. Apart from this, second reason is it provides information regarding evolution which took place among plant and animal. They are also focusing on the evolution. By knowing the distinction, relationship, habitat, and habits, it thus gives a vivid picture of entire organic diversity. So it clears somewhat the picture. So information regarding the evolution. And the next thing, it helps in the identification of fossils. It also helps in identification of fossils, which give useful information about the phylogeny of organisms. And the fourth one, that is a newly discovered organism can be identified through systematics. Whatever the new organism that we can identify by the systematics. So these are the uses of systematics. So there is a systematic arrangement is needed according to the Carolus Linnaeus and according to the taxonomic sciences. Now, in this part, further we are going to talk about the types of systematics. Dear students, we have studied just the types of taxonomy. Now we are going to deal with the types of systematics. And here you can see first type is given, that is classical or old or descriptive systematics. That is also important. Classical, it is referring just to the old one, it is referring just to the descriptive systems. And here, similar to the classical taxonomy, it is based upon morphological characters, obvious. And in classical taxonomy, the second point you should read, important one, that is the basic unit of classification is species. See, according to the classification, whatever the basic unit was decided according to classical or old systematics, that is species. And initially this was worked out by the Aristotle and Linnaeus. But later on, advancement happened and the new systematics or biosystematics or neosystematics what they call. In new systematics, biosystematics or neosystematics, you can see that it is based upon all a character. Either it is morphological, cytological, ecological, biochemical or genetical or etc. This all character, external, internal, then ecology, environmental, it can be chemical level, anything that was taken into consideration during the classification, then it is nothing but new systematics or biosystematics. And this term was coined by the Julian Huxley, as you can see here. And the basic unit of classification is population or subspecies. Here the basic unit is population or subspecies. So dear students, I hope you have understood what is the difference between taxonomy and systematics. Classification in that modern taxonomy part is most important. Several times you will get a question from that. Otherwise, it is fine to understand the difference between taxonomy and systematics. And one of the most important, that systematics include the phylogeny, that is evolutionary relationship, that is the take home lesson. Okay students, so I hope you all are getting these points and you are understanding this. Okay, so let's move further after these branches and focus on some more topics. Yes, binomial. We have dealt with the characterization, identification, third is nomenclature. So it is also important to understand how to carry out a nomenclature. See, the term suggests itself, binomial nomenclature means two-word naming system. Yes, we study this. Before this, I want to go under the history of this binomial nomenclature, and I want to make you understand that initially there was two type of naming was done based on the morphological character, and that naming was known as local name or vernacular name. So initially name was of two types. One is vernacular or local name, means it is given by studying the morphology and it is given by the local people. But yes, so initially vernacular name was there or local name was there. Another type of name which was evolved based on some of the rules and regulation, that was a binomial nomenclature or scientific nomenclature. Okay, now this binomial nomenclature thing was given by Carolus Linnaeus, and Linnaeus used this nomenclature system for the first time on large scale and proposed scientific name of many plants and animals. Actually, Linnaeus is considered as a founder of binomial system. If you get this question, please write in Linnaeus. This scientific name of plants was proposed by Linnaeus in his book, that is Species Plantarum. Dear students, please write this point. This is an important one. First time Linnaeus proposed scientific name of plants in his book Species Plantarum, and it was published in 1753. Okay, and it was the initiation of the binomial system of plants. And it is considered that whatever the names given before Linnaeus, that are not accepted today. Similarly, Linnaeus also proposed scientific names of animals in his book Systema Naturae in in the 10th edition. Dear students, please remember the Linnaeus named the plants naming in Systema Plantarum and the names of the animals in the Systema Naturae. And the 10th edition of Systema Naturae was published in 1758. So for animal binomial system was believed to be start in 1758. So it was somewhat later after the particular plants. Now the vernacular name are given locally, so they differ from place to place, area to area, but scientific names are universal one. They are accepted everywhere because they are based on the rules and regulations. So what are the rules and regulations that we are going to study? See, here we have taken an example of Mangifera indica, okay, and that is the written scientific name of mango. Now what are the rules of this binomenclature? According to Linnaeus, it was that, or it is that, any scientific name should consist of two words. First word is generic name, another word is specific epithet. You can see here, Mangifera is a generic name, genus name, and indica is a specific epithet. That is the first, that is consists of two words, so it is known as binomial or two-word naming system. Second thing, the first letter of this generic name must be capital, like say in Mangifera M is capital, and other all should be letter, but first letter of each small in case of specific epithet, or other all letters are small, as we can see like this. And these terms which are used for the naming of any organism are taken from Latin, so they are Latin in origin, and to represent the Latin origin of the word, every scientific name is written in italics. Yes students, please remember, whatever the scientific name you will see in any book, any your book, they are in italics. Why they are in italics? Because it represents its Latin origin. And sometimes after this genus name and specific epithet, author name is also written sometimes in abbreviated form and Roman type. See, so if suppose Linnaeus has given the Mangifera indica, then Mangifera indica, and then after that we will write a lin dot. So that represents a Roman type, and the scientific name or author citation after specific epithet it is written. Okay. Another rules of binomial nomenclature is that when we write by through hand, or when anything is handwritten, scientific name is handwritten, they are underlined separately, because while writing we can't make it italics. So here they are underlined separately to represent their Latin origin, okay, or their italicization. Okay, so I hope you understood the particularly rules of this binomial nomenclature. Now, just I told you that when author citation is added, or author name is added, which is in Roman type and or in Roman language, it is after the specific epithet, and you can see it is a binomial epithet. Binomial epithet is equal to, binomial nomenclature is genus name and specific epithet, but binomial epithet is a generic name, specific epithet plus author citation. Okay, so here you can see Mangifera indica lin. See, author citation cannot be italicized, and after writing lin, here dot is not kept, but after writing lin we should keep a dot. If you write lin, or if you write just L and dot, that is also fine, there is no issue, but author citation should not be italicized. Okay, that is written in Roman time or standing way. Okay, and the full stop is kept after this. Here's full stop is missing, but you should write after lin. That is the correct one. Now let's see the given examples of some of the common names. You can see, you know, the Homo sapiens is a scientific name of human, and Homo is a genus name, specific epithet is the species. Same way for lion, it is a Panthera lion. Panthera is a genus, lion is a specific epithet. Dog, Canis familiaris. Canis is a genus name and familiaris is specific epithet. Then a brinjal, Solanum melongena. Solanum melongena, in that brinjal, Solanum is the genus and and the Melongena is the specific epithet. Rosa indica, Rosa genus name, indica specific epithet. Same way for pigeon it is Columba livia, Columba is a genus name, livia is a specific epithet. And the last one you can see, these examples are important, you have to remember. Wheat, you know that wheat is important food for us, and that is a Triticum aestium is a scientific name, where Triticum is a genus name and specific epithet is a aestium. Dear student, you have to remember all this scientific name because they are important. So till now whatever we have studied, now I hope you are clear with the taxonomy systematics, with the binomial nomenclature and binomial epithet. Okay dear students. Now after two-word naming system, some scientists thought that there is a possibility of three-word naming system, and the three-word naming nomenclature system is known as trinomial nomenclature. In trinomial nomenclature you can see the first term is a genus name, another term, second term is a specific epithet, and a variety or subspecies are used for the plants and animals respectively. Means third term is variety if it is a scientific name of a plant, and third term will be considered as a subspecies if it is a particular scientific name of animals. So similarly you can see some of the examples of the trinomial nomenclature of some of the common name, like Indian crow. The scientific name of Indian crow is given as Corvus splendens. Yes students, three words are there. Corvus is a genus name, splendens is a specific epithet, and splendens third term, that is a particularly, it is a crow, it is an animal, so the third term splendens is a subspecies. Same way for a gorilla, the scientific name is gorilla, so genus name, specific epithet and the particular subspecies all are gorilla. Cabbage, this particular good name is given Brassica oleracea variety capitata. Brassica oleracea, that is a particular scientific name of cabbage, but variety is given VAR and dot. For plant we have to write a VAR dot and capitata. Then cauliflower is given cabbage, they have written cabbage, actually this is cauliflower, and in that you can see Brassica oleracea botrytis, it is a scientific name, cauliflower actually. Then Indian babool, that is a Acacia nilotica variety indica. So if it is a plant we have to write a VAR dot before the what variety, but in case of animals subspecies can be written directly after the specific epithet, and that is a three-word naming system. Okay dear students, so this is the thing of nomenclature or type of nomenclature. Now for the nomenclature, certain committees are there which are assigned or given a particular work to specify the name of this, and for this the several committees have been developed and that are using for the different organism. You can see ICBN is given. ICBN is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. Then ICZN is the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Then you can see ICNB is there. ICNB is what? International Code of Nomenclature of Bacteria. See, you should not get confused with the ICBN and ICNB. Several times they confuse you by this. First ICBN, that is for the botanical nomenclature, means that is for the plant. ICZN is for the animals. But ICNB, that is the nomenclature of bacteria, that is for the bacteria, that is for prokaryotes. That committee gives the names of the prokaryotes. Same way another code is ICNCP, that is the International Code of Nomenclature of Cultivated Plants, so it is for the cultivated plants. Same way ICVCN is there. ICVCN is the International Code of Virus Classification and Nomenclature. Yes student, is for virus classification and nomenclature. And the last one is ICTV, that is the International Committee for the Taxonomy of Viruses. The second code for the virus is the ICTV. So dear students, for plants you can see there are two, and for particularly virus also there are two different codes or different committees are there which gives the nomenclature for this one. So this is the thing, important one. Now after this we are going to talk about some of the important variation in the name and the particular term assigned for that. First given is a synonym. Okay. If suppose initially one scientific name is given to any organism by by misconception another time also it is named scientifically in different region. So now the committees have accepted two different names for the one organism. So whatever the first name is given that is considered as its scientific name, main scientific name, and the another one will be considered as a synonym. So you can read here, in case two or more names are given, the oldest, the name given first is recognized as a valid name and all other names will be considered as a synonym. And you can see the example that is of fungus given, fungus of Oomycetes that we will study, that is a fungus is Albugo candida. And the synonym of this is the Cystophus candidus. Same way you can see here tautonym. Whenever the same term is used for the genetic and specific epithet, then it is a tautonym. And here you can see here the scientific name of rat is given, that is Rattus rattus. So dear students, be remember these tautonyms have both the same term, but both tautonyms are not recognized by botanists. You have to focus here. This is the question that you can get. After this third term which is used for certain types of naming, that is autonym. So autonym is the when the species and subspecies or variety names and subspecies and variety names are both are same. You can see here an example, Corvus splendens splendens. So Corvus is genus, splendens is specific epithet, and splendens is subspecies. Both are specific epithet, and the subspecies both are same. Same way, Acacia nilotica nilotica. So nilotica nilotica specific epithet and the particularly subspecies are same. So that is particularly autonyms. And the last one, fourth category of names, that are the homonyms. When one name is used for two different plant. Dear students, please remember, first what is synonym? When two different names are given to the one organism. But here what is homonym? One name is given to two different organisms. And the here example is Prunus delcis, that is used for both almond and plum. So dear students, synonyms, we remember two different names, tautonyms, specific epithet genus name are same, autonym, subspecies and species, specific epithet and subspecies or specific epithet and variety are same, and homonym, in this one name is given for two different plants. So this is the different categories of names. Okay dear students, so till now we have dealt with all the different ways of classification. In this we have studied the taxonomy and we have studied the systematics, the naming, what are the rules, for what they have meant. That we have already studied the importance of the nomenclature, and in nomenclature also we have taken several examples and all the rules, and that is over by here. So I hope dear students you have understood this topic very well in a good manner. Now after this, in next lecture we will be continuing with our next topic, that is a new topic, that is the taxonomic categories. Okay dear students, so that we are going to study. So please study it and focus on NCERT, you will get it. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.